Hello, everybody, and welcome to BuzzCast episode 4, the Bootleggers podcast. We have another fun-filled episode for you today. Hopefully, completely unscripted. We've got some cool guests who are going to be joining us to talk through another 3 agenda points. So I'm just going to introduce my co-presenter this time, who we can actually hear each other for this episode, which is it's an improvement on last week, isn't it, Riot?
I can hear him, but we're still not on speaking terms.
It's been tough on the children. It's been tough.
You leave Matt out of this.
I'm just going to go 2 Christmases. Woohoo! So first guest that we want to introduce today is somebody who probably doesn't really need much of an introduction. It's Boggy from the company. Hello, Boggy.
Morning.
Things in your world, Mr. Boggy?
I've got the coronavirus down the road, but apart from that, everything's good.
There's worse things to be down the road, like Riot's headset from last week. So you have rather helpfully to us today about the crew scoring leaderboard and the company and the way that your sort of strategy and maybe like the history of the last few periods where you've been scoring, and then potentially what your strategy is going forwards. We're also joined by Prophet and TheCigar, who are from the Medellin Connection. Am I saying that right? Medellin Connection?
Medellin. It's a hard
Medellin
sound.
Medellin Connections. Mr. Prophet and TheCigar, welcome guys to episode 4.
Cheers.
So you guys are going to be here to talk about crew mergers, and I guess we're probably going to get involved in the crew scoring discussions and leaderboards and where your sort of crew has come from and what you're planning to do for the future. And we also have our regular team member, Strikeback, who today is going to be talking to us about the Gangster top trumps that was in the forum recently. So I think you've got a couple of people to kick that off with, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of people listed here on a small piece of paper, so it should be all right.
So I guess there's not too many of us, so I guess we're probably just going to have a discussion between all of us about those points, I guess. So we'll probably start off with the first 2 points. Mr. Boggy, you are from the company. The company seem rather successful at Bootleggers at the moment, even though you're typically an underground crew. You seem to be doing rather well. Are you enjoying? In a word, are you enjoying the crew scoring?
No.
No, you're not enjoying it, but you are doing very well at it. Last period 4, you absolutely crushed the competition in terms of you had a crazy last minute win over Death Valley, but you also hit 5 billion in crew revenue. So first of all, well, I've got 2 questions and you can answer them in any order. Why aren't you enjoying it? And secondly, how are you so good at it?
I think the reason we're not enjoying it is I remember listening back to the previous podcast with Tom Hagen and Haha, I believe that were on it. I listened to it last night before it came on. And I think you asked them the same question in terms of new BL or old BL. And for me, I think I've had this conversation with you privately a couple of times, Flames, but I don't think the crew that makes the most money necessarily means they're the best crew. I think the leaderboard is set up very monetary, and for me, actions speak louder than words. And I think in your last BuzzCast as well, I think it was Riot that specifically asked the question, why didn't DV shoot TC or TC shoot DV? And I think Haha gave a good question in terms of if you go to war, you cannot win. But at the same time, I think actions such as going to war with another crew should be points-based, and that should help you towards the leaderboard at the top. I just don't think it should be completely monetary. And I'll be honest, TC, we love being a UG crew. I think for rounds and rounds and rounds, we shot and we're at war with some of the biggest crews on the game, TSE, Axties, Event Horizon, the State back in the day. we've even shot against the royal family in the Vanguard, who we were allied with at one point. So
definitely very
I just,
formidable shooters in terms of there are. So I'm not surprised by you saying that something like action and shooting should contribute in some sort of like points model. I suppose the point that Riot was making last week was that you guys and DV were neck and neck last week. I mean, it was really down to the wire. We were shooting the podcast, and I think we were about 4 or 5 hours away from the end of the period. And it was literally like you were a little bit in front, they were a little bit in front, you were a little bit in front. And Riot's point was you could just shoot the other crew, and then they can stop scoring revenue.
And I get that. I just think at the start of this round, just alluding to what I was saying previously, we've been at war with people round after round after round, and we've never, I personally, I hold as an individual, I hold grudges against people. I tend to not like a lot of people, and that's just how I was brought through the ranks within TC. Always that winning mentality in terms of getting it up on you. And I think we started this round the previous round on a clean slate, telling everyone that any previous grudges, they're to bed. We won't be doing any shooting until we're shot at, and we made that clear to everyone. So we weren't going to go against that. There's people in the past who have told the whole BL community, we're neutral until shot, and then they've wanted to win, so they've changed that. And if we didn't win because we were shot at, we kept our integrity in a way. So I'm pleased that we did it. It did make me laugh that Tom Hagen said he was only sleeping 3-4 hours a day. I can confirm I was getting a solid 8 hours. So
work smarter, not harder, Tom Hagen. You heard it here first, Death Valley.
Exactly. But I've got to say, it was a good battle. We had a tactic going into it. I think your second question was, how did we do it? And we had to change our entire play style. I think if you look at where we finished, I think it was 7th and then 5th, and then I think we got 3rd or something like that previous to it. And we just decided I think collectively we made the decision to go out and prove what we were capable of doing, that we could change our play style. And I've got to say, collectively, the people that we've got within TC are some of the most hard-working players that I've come across. And, that's not against any other crew out there, but I just think when we go after something all in the same direction, we can achieve anything that we want to achieve. And we, if you look at, I think we had 1.8 billion in organised crime, 1.6 billion in bootlegging. So I think the bootlegging side of stuff shows the activity, because anyone can do a candy PC. I hate all that stuff. It's too many words for me. Just getting an OC and do it. But simplicity, we just kept it dead simple. And I think the idea was to sort of give everyone, because I think at the time Game of Thrones were in contention for a while up until the last couple of days. Our idea was to just false sense of security, I think, give them the idea that they were in the lead. Just referring back to Tom Hagen again, I think he came on the broadcast and said we're 2 million ahead. That was completely within our mindset. We were fine with that. And we just had a colossal amount of cars that we hadn't sold for a 7 to 10 day period, and we just decided with 15 minutes to go, we'd try and destroy the morale and sell them all in one go, and it worked. And then after that, I think we saw their score and didn't go up for 5 minutes or so, and then I think it was just a rally at the end of the day to turn around to people and say, you know what, I think this 5 billion mark is something that until a further event comes out with more special items, I don't think it's going to be challenged. And instead of just winning the round, let's go and win it in style. So the last push from everyone was amazing. So big shout out to everyone in TC, by the way. I think I can be audible to most of them sometimes, but everyone's hard work was very appreciated.
I think coming top definitely requires a lot of organisation, a decent strategy, good leadership, and like you've said, probably a lot of hard-working members. You've clearly got that. Do you get a general feeling of coming together more so than like old BL if you're all underground? Obviously, you have completely different play style, different tactics, a different goal. Does this goal, it being so visible on a leaderboard, ranking yourself against other crews, does that make it feel like it's is it a better goal for the average player to contribute towards? I've been in underground crews before, and it's like you're sort of kept in the dark a little bit because there's obviously always like a little bit of distrust or stuff like that, and there's maybe only a couple of shooters, and to be like an average member of that crew, you don't really get the sense that you're working towards the goal. Whereas with this, it's quite easier. It's easier from a leadership perspective, because you can you can direct everyone to that leaderboard and say, that's our goal. We are going to get to the top of that. So is it a smart move in terms of the overall game? If I were to join Bootleggers as a new player tomorrow and get involved in this, it's more likely to suit me because I can see a goal. Would you agree with that at all?
Yeah, I would. I think I'd probably go back to when TC decided to go UG. I might come across sometimes as the people that, one of the people that's running TC, but just to make everyone aware, we've actually got a council of over 20 people. We take everything to a vote. The deciding vote, no one has the deciding vote. It is all 20 people have an equal say in what we do. And I think that's why it works so well. So even when we were UG, I'll be honest with you now, it was probably 10 times easier to create tactics to win the leaderboard than it was to do maybe an entire 24-spot wipe. Because in an entire 24-spot wipe, you've got to get everyone around at the same time, sort of like this BuzzCast this morning. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. You've got different time zones, whereas on the leaderboard, you literally just split your team into two. You've got your EU people, you've got your Arab people, you've got your United States people, and as long as each group is continuing to contribute towards the overall score, to be honest with you, with how well we work together, it was relatively easy. There was no sort of issue, and it was quite fun. I won't lie. I'm not a fan of the leaderboard. I don't like the way it's set up. I've not made that any sort of clearer than I think I have on this BuzzCast right now. But the excitement in the chat. I think I was speaking to Prophet before the BuzzCast started. The excitement in the chat was probably just a bit lower than when we did do that action against TSC when we wiped them from the inside. So definitely, and we've started some recruitment now. I think we're trying to adapt ourselves to the way BL's going. We've closed recruitment for a long time. We've had some bad experiences in the past. We've tried to be an open and honest crew in terms of giving people the rope to hand themselves with. Even when there was layerings and everything else, we didn't have any gun restrictions. I don't think it's the right way to play the game. And I think if you do that, you let yourself open to people being disgruntled in your spot. We try to give people the opportunity to show them what we can do. And I'll be honest with you, even some of the people that we've recruited over the last 6 months or so, I always think back to when I first joined TC. I was back in the day when it was Conk, Nordy, Ed, Tommy, Levi's, all the old guys, and Nuka was there as well. Me and Nuka are still remaining, Orv as well. And at one point, TC was 6 people, and it was 6 people playing UG against Axties, the States at the time. And to look at what we've sort of achieved and built TC into now, there's some high quality players, and I think as the game develops and moves on, I think that player to player feedback is going to be important, because we need to keep ensuring that we're not losing the people that actually contribute a lot to the game. And it's nice to see some of the crews there now. I think there's 40 on the stats. I'll be honest with you, I don't pay any attention to it. I don't know who some of them are. I've only just found out today that TSC have disbanded into a whole different group of people. I tend not to get involved with as many people as I can, mainly because I can come across as a bit of an arsehole, but that's just my personality. I think I rub people up the wrong way.
Never felt that way.
I haven't felt that way. But okay. So a nice bit of history there. But the future, and this is something that we've seen. This seems to be typical, is that you win a period, and then the next period you sort of drop down the rankings a little bit. Is that what is that? Why is that happening? Is that people taking their foot off the gas? Is it because it's an awful lot of effort? Is this a strategic thing like you were doing in period 4, where you're letting people with a false sense of security think they're going to win, and then is the company going to win period 5? Is my ultimate question.
No, we're not. I can tell you that categorically. We've gone out again with the message to tell people we're not going for it this round. We're not getting involved in any of this shooting back and forward. We play solo. We've got no intention of getting involved in anyone else's issues. It's nothing to do with us. I think it does take a lot of effort to win the round. I think there was some guys who I think our top 2 contributed 500 million each, I think, near enough. So if you look at 5 billion, $1 million of that was contributed by nearly 2 people. And then our lowest person's contribution was about 150 million. So it took a lot of effort for people to click.
That's a
But
lot of consistency.
we only ever do things when we want to do them. We sat UG for I don't know how long. We sat in spots for I don't know how long, and it really doesn't bother us. We do things in our own time when we want to do them. If we do decide to go after a round again, I have no sort of preconception that we are going to win it. I think we'll have to beat who we go up against. And I think one thing I would like to say, because I think it's the first time we've had a chance to, is I think you've got to look at the progression of DV recently. We were in an alliance with DV for years in previous rounds before the leaderboard came out, and Allah, Scan, all those guys. I didn't even know DV were that big. I'll be honest with you. I only ever had contact with about 6 of them at those times, and I think the way that they've progressed, I think when you asked the question before, is this leaderboard helping to give players something to go after? I think they're the perfect example of it. Does it fit my play style and how I want to play? And maybe TC's probably not. But for those type of guys, and you're looking at Game of Thrones now, even let me say it right, the Colombo family. Have I said that right? Because I know you got told off last week. But
I never get it right. I just want to say Colombo. It should have a U in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a petition to make that the Colombo family, and I think you should all join me.
I just think it's nice to see those sorts of crews doing what I would call bits, going out there and attacking it and doing something that they probably wouldn't do before. But I do miss the nostalgia of the old days, the warring. I used to love getting the sheets together when doing a wipe and seeing the layers, and I think that tactical side of stuff's been lost a little bit. I think Haha made a comment about crews being sitting ducks on stats, a boss having to do 6 days worth of work to kill an Eldon that's done maybe 50 days of work, and I do think that there's that imbalance at the minute. But I guess it's a work in progress. We're all at the mercy of what Kyle wants to do and how quickly Kyle wants to do it. I do think it's given a different edge in terms of the leaderboard and the payouts on it. But overall,
I certainly hope you stick with it as a crew. I mean, it's nice to see you guys around, and you have got some really well-known players in there, and clearly they're all coming together to hit these goals. I think it's nice to see TC on the stats, and actually it's nice to. You obviously were quite formidable and as a reputation, you personally and TC, but obviously for sitting behind the scenes and from somebody that has been involved in the buzz for years. Your type of crew was always difficult for us. You played from the shadows, you'd give us the odd interview here and there, but actually to get to the true story about what you were up to and stuff and your strategy, that was always, obviously it was desirable for you, that was always hidden. But to see you actually on the top of the stats winning something, I prefer it that way, but I've never really been an underground player. And I think that's what's difficult about Bootleggers development, is that it is difficult because there are so many different play styles. And I think if you had the opportunity to play underground again as a crew, would you do it?
To play underground, you need an enemy. Right now, we don't have one. I stick by the fact that we've let all past indiscretions go. We've got no sort of animosity towards anyone. That includes you, Badog, just to shout out, because me and him have had a few issues in the past. But for everyone, we've got no issue at the minute. So there's no need for us to be underground. The first time someone wants to go to war with
Togbound, yeah? You guys were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, just me and him personally, not the entire crew, just me and him personally. But I think until we've got an enemy, mate, we'll just continue to sit doing what we want when we want. It's nice and chilled at the minute. We've got people in the crew who moved to maybe shooting when they were gamblers for a bit, and now they're able to gamble for a while. And I think having that fluidity and flexibility to meet the needs of all your members is important. We've said, Mal, one of the biggest forum whores in the world, in Bootleggers history, turned out to be one of the best shooters, and that was just through giving him the opportunity to do that with us. I do miss Mal. I'm not even sure where he is nowadays, but we've taken people in that have probably been shunned or kicked out by other crews, and we've just given them the opportunity to play the game in a different way. And I think when you do have the different play styles, you start to get that complete player. And then at the end of the day, I've taken time out recently. I've had a few personal things going on. I know Nuka, who's probably one of the other well-known guys, has taken some time out here and there. And even when we do take the time out, nothing, the world doesn't end. It just keeps ticking over. And I think having that council where everyone's got that voice and everything goes to a vote, it makes it very easy that when you do set your mind to something, you can go after it and achieve it. And I think that's the only reason why we were able to post 5 billion on the leaderboard and beat DV, because DV were consistently top 3 for I don't know how many periods or rounds or whatever you want to call it. So for us to just come out there and go after that took it did take a lot of effort from everyone, really.
I do wish you the absolute best of luck, and for anyone that is, we've maybe heard it's fizzled out a little bit over the last few weeks, but we're hoping to rekindle it now. We're back into we're sort of well into the new year now after that holiday lull. We are recruiting some new people into our feedback group, of which Boggy is one of those people, and I'm sure you'll be pretty happy to know that the underground playstyle is, but also clearly capable of representing the on the stats crew playstyle. Mr. Boggy has joined us and part of that feedback group previously, and we hope to continue that over the next couple of months. I do have another. I imagine, right, we'll probably have a couple of more laid back questions for you now as we wrap this little section to a close. I'm going to ask you the same question that we asked Tom Hagen and Sin last week, just because I like to get a little bit of gossip going if we can. I think that's going to be quite entertaining, and I know that you're a man who's quite straight talking. You may answer this question. If you had to shoot one crew or wanted to shoot one crew right now, who would it be? And the other side of it is that who's your favourite crew? It can be someone on the stats now, or it can be someone from the future, from the past.
I meant what I said before. I don't really know who these people on the stats are anymore. I'm looking at this. I'm looking down the list now. There's about 40 names there. I can probably answer to you who was my favourite to shoot since I've played the game.
And who's that?
And that was probably what we were alluding to further when we shot TSE. I think that was a good war. Lasted for a long time. They shot us, we shot them. But that day when we took them down from the inside was a fun day. It was no hard feelings to them either. I think that was just. But then again, Axties as well, Aldo, Dylan, Calf, all back in the day. We went to war with some of the best that have played the game, and that was fun. But one of my favourite crews. Well, you've got to have a decent competition to hold your own. So that's obviously me giving them a bit of kudos as well. In terms of favourite crew, you might think I'm being soppy when I say this, but I've been TC for 5 years now, and there's people that's come and gone. There's people that have been there and not been there, but I would not be playing BL any longer if I hadn't joined TC and I wasn't still in TC.
I appreciate that, but give us props to one other crew. Give us props to, just for a hit of nostalgia, favourite crew from history that you weren't actually involved in yourself.
I used to enjoy watching the Gambino family, I won't lie. That was when I was a very casual player before I got involved in all the politics and stuff. I remember the Winter Hill gang as well from back in the day. They were some good crews.
Yeah, old school.
But I think even Event Horizon, we've went to war with Event Horizon, and I know Betty's not a big fan of us. Don't know if she's still playing, but hi Betty if you're out there. But I think one of the guys that I got on dead well with was the Belgian guy in Event Horizon. I can't remember what his name is now. I haven't seen him around
from Event Horizon. Anybody know the Belgian guy from Event Horizon?
I can't remember what his name is.
And I was in Event Horizon for a bit.
I can't remember what his name is now, but he was a decent fella. And any time that he used to shoot us and we used to shoot them, I think Event Horizon tried to inside TC 3-4 times and got away with it, and then we went and did the same to them. So it was just fun, I think. So the fact that they never gave up and they could play the long game made me respect them quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mr. Boggy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. If you wouldn't mind, we're going to move on to agenda point number 2. And we're going to go and talk to Prophet and TheCigar from the Medellin, because that's Medellin.
There we go.
Medellin?
Yeah, Medellin. It's
Medellin.
Colombian. It's not traditional Spanish. It's Colombian. So the double
Colombian.
L is a hard J sound.
Wonderful. Thank you for correcting me, and thanks, Mr. Boggy, and welcome, Mr. Prophet and TheCigar.
Hey.
We invited you guys on to talk to us because, as Boggy was just talking about, there's a huge long list of crews on that page. Some are new, some are some are sort of joining together, and that's one of the reasons that we invited you in, because we thought it would be a bit of a new story that might have been covered in the Buzz back in the day, which is a crew merger. So I guess you guys could just tell us a bit about the crew that you're in, where it's come from, and maybe a bit about yourselves. Over to you.
Phil, you want to go first, or should I?
Yeah, I can go. So basically, happened we were part of the French Connection originally. It's just the whole recruiting side of things. We just couldn't get the crew up, and I'd been looking at possibly merging with another crew for a while. Was looking around, and to be honest with you, I can't even say it either. Medellin. They had perfect numbers. I'd spoke to a couple before, so we put the offer out there, and they came back to me and basically said, yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's worked really well so far. We've not really challenged this round much because we were 3 days in when we merged. So, but hopefully next round we'll be hitting the top spots.
That sounds good. So this was so you didn't actually know each other too much in terms of like the council leadership from both crews. It was purely like what you had, like 12 and 13 members, and it just made sense mathematically. Was that how it came about?
Yeah.
we
So,
we only found out about each other after the merge. After a couple of us sat down and talked about our backgrounds. Like I didn't even know these guys were DM, for until all of my guys were already in the spot and we started talking.
Interesting. Okay, so you guys were so the guys from the French Connection were De Medici.
yeah, some of us. There was about 6 or 7 of us, which were originally from De Medici.
Oh my God, what is with all these crews that are? Why can't somebody just be? Why can't you just have easier crew names? Why can't everyone just be called the company or something like that? Okay, so you were at De Medici.
Yeah, so I was
Became
part of
French
De Medici.
Connection.
Yeah, so we split. So I think some have gone to Pinot's now. So Holland and Don Snorri. It was a split between the crews, and we've all just went our separate ways. So they had a few members go with them, and we had a few that came, and we started the French Connection.
So what we've we've really lied to you, because this agenda point 2 is actually about is about tongue twisters. So De Medici have joined with have became the French Connection and have now the Medellin Connection, and so there's and the other part of De Medici have gone to be the Pinot.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Easier crew names next time. When we set this up, I'm just gonna have a look at the list of crews here. Legion. We're talking to Legion next week, and the Offspring done. Okay, so you guys. So what period did you merge in? Was it period 2?
No, we just merged to in this period.
Oh, really? Okay. This is
so
super
about
new
three days in to the period, we decided to merge. Which has been quite tough because getting the points.
It was like a total of 10 of us that actually came over, and we were all on revenue cooldown. Like we couldn't even earn anything for a while.
Oh, right, I see. So you've now got how many members?
I believe full crew, 24 or 25. I think we've got one spot made.
And how's everybody getting on? How's the actual merger working out? Is like personality-wise?
Do you know what? It's actually been really good. I was quite surprised how well everybody's mixed together. There's so I mean we like a lot of banter anyway, and so do they. So it's actually worked perfectly for us.
Yeah. Well, nice one.
I was quite surprised coming from the Sacred Empire that because I've been crew hopping since for a while. Like I was in Macedon with a couple of TRF members,
right.
Or ex-TRF members. There's been a lot of drama with that, I guess. But we actually started another project, and I've been crew hopping since then. And the fact that I found another group of people that had a real high camaraderie was very refreshing.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. So obviously there's no point in talking about the history of the leaderboard so far. In terms of period 5, how are you guys doing so far? Obviously, you had the you're not expecting to Are you scoring highly per day? Like, have you got? Do you expect that you're going? I mean, you're eighth, and that was with some of the restrictions. So you must be doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite tough. So we were going to try and challenge, but to be honest, once we got to eighth, it's going to be a lot of work to catch up to the company now. So we're just going to start focusing on the next period, getting resources.
Okay, but you look like you could be serious contenders. I mean, to just immediately come up to top 10 after even with having some of the restriction is pretty cool.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we were 13th or 14th when we merged.
Yeah.
So we've managed to get to 8th.
That's pretty cool. So I hope that we see some good stuff from you in future. So I know about that side. So the side that came from De Medici. The other side, what was the crew called before? That was the crew that was just called Medellin.
Yeah, the Medellin. That was us.
Okay, and did you have a history in other crews, or were you all a bit split around? Like, where did you guys come from?
So I made some mistakes, some very bad mistakes.
Haven't we all?
And I ended up shooting the Offspring over the Bullet Factory.
Okay.
So me and a handful of members, we were talking about it a while because a couple of us were disagreeing with the way that council was doing stuff, and then me being only one voice in the council, I couldn't really get my point across without everyone else shutting it down, because they weren't too sure what direction they wanted to go. So I took it upon myself and a handful of others to fast search right before their teddy bears ran out, so we can hit. We're trying to hit certain players and try to snatch the Bullet Factory within the confusion, like within that 5 minute, 3 minute mark. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that failed. That failed. I couldn't get the names searched fast enough, and my boy Carl over here, he his targets, he didn't search fast enough. So the plan was
Carl
was kaput. But
Carl, that kills people.
but he's he's a good guy. He still went through with it. You're just following my lead and stuff like that. I tried to make something with him and a couple other the Night's Watch members, and we just it was a recruitment problem. We just couldn't recruit, so I ended up stepping down, and then hit up a couple of TSC members, and one of them said that he has a group of guys that have been wanting to go on stats. A couple of them want to be unnamed for obvious reasons because they think that maybe their past actions could have some blowback. So we started a crew with a couple of them, and then even though we had a good start, we had like 7 or 8 members at the time, and I was still trying to recruit a couple people. It was just hard to get the numbers there. I had a lot of I'll think about it if you gain some traction, I'll give it a consider, but that traction never formed. And then these guys, the French Connection, they reached out, and then my sleep schedule's way off, so I didn't read it right away, but it sounded good. They pretty much had half the crew. I provided the other half, and I knew my guys were active enough to at least hit top 5. Top 5 is not hard. So I was like, you know what? It's not a bad idea. I mean, they seem like they've been around and not been shot for a while.
Okay, so there's a number of crews that might have a similar profile to what you guys were like before the merger. I see a lot of people on that list of sort of 7, 8 people, some with like 10, 11 people. If you had some advice for people out there that were thinking about doing a merger, have you got like a piece of advice each that you would give to some of those people that were maybe thinking about it? Because I doubt this is going to be the last time this happens.
Honestly, I say go for it. Reach out to the fellow, community members. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if they've been around this long, some of those those new names on the stats, if they've been around this long, they haven't shot, they haven't they're not causing any trouble. I'm pretty sure it's a crew that disbanded or split that want a fresh start. Now, I'm pretty sure another crew of that same stature could easily boot mail, but hey, let's talk merge. You know what I mean? Or get to know another crew, and maybe you guys can work something out, compete on stats, because the stats thing is fun, but I do agree with Boggy over there. He it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of features that could be implemented, I guess. Like say two crews did go to war, you can calculate how much they spent on that war, and then rank the crews based off of profit for that period. You know what I mean? Like they gained, like they made like what, 6 billion, but they spent 5 billion in like buying police cars, and you know what I mean. So you can judge each cruise based on like on profit pretty much. Or
See what you mean? Yeah, a lot of people said that about bootlegging, that it should be profit and not revenue driven, because otherwise you could make a loss on a run, but you've just done a high revenue run.
Exactly. That's a lot of that's what a lot of us were talking about in the small circles that I'm part of.
And the cigar. Oh, sorry, go on, right?
I just want to say real quick, I think it's important to remember that this is still the first run of the scoring periods. Kyle's a very big data guy. He's collecting a lot of data on this, and I do think there will be some balancing. He's taking player feedback to heart. He discusses stuff with us from time to time. So any and all suggestions that you guys have to improve the scoring rounds, feel free to shoot us a message or a HT ticket. Let us know. So definitely right now the goal is to not have it be so clicky and just grinding to win, to take away the effect of the game. So I do think there'll be some improvements.
I have something to interject. Riot, a mutual friend of ours, I forgot his real name, but he goes by DDX.
Lemon Dog.
Yeah, he me and him were talking the other day, and he has a bunch of ideas. I don't know if you talked to him about it.
I've never spoken to. I haven't spoken to Diamond Dog in years.
He only sends me pictures of his motorcycle. No, I'm just kidding. He sent me a lot of those, but no, he has sent me those, and we will be discussing that with the feedback group. We got a lot of good feedback, and
so you have talked to him. So you have seen the motorcycle, because he sent me those too.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful bike.
So the cigar, have you got a piece of advice for all those crews out there, similar to what Prophet just gave us? Let's say that you've got 8-10 members, you see somebody else, you're thinking about a merger. What would a piece of advice be?
It'd be definitely go for it. I mean, it's worked really. I mean, to be honest, we did jump into it, and without the crews knowing each other. Luckily, it's worked really, really well. But yeah, definitely go for it. Probably just make sure that crews are able to work together before doing it. But it's definitely paid off for ourselves.
Nice one. Well, thank you very much, chaps. It's been great of you to join us today to talk about your recent merger, and I'm sure there is. We wanted to do a little section on this on the podcast because we think it's not going to be the last time that this happens. Purely based on the fact that there's so many crews out there with sort of 7 people to 15 people, and these are like perfect size crews for perhaps some of you to join up. So I don't know. I was going to actually just have a quick look through the list and think of some funny names that could happen if 2 people were to join together. There's the Flamingos and the Asylum. You guys, I would suggest you join together to make the Flamingo Asylum. I'm sure there are funnier versions out there, but if you think of any, then let me know. But yeah, so all of you guys thinking about doing it, you heard it here first from Prophet and TheCigar, who came from 2 different crews, joined together. Might end up, they're already in the top 10. They're probably gonna, I think with their score, they're definitely gonna hit. I'm comfortable. I'd put money on top 5 next period.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be trying top 5, maybe even top 3.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck. I hope you guys stick around to listen to us talk to Strikeback now. We wanted to, obviously, the whole idea of the BuzzCast is that it was meant to replace the Buzz. And in the Buzz, we used to think of cool, fun ideas that we could just run. And I don't know if you saw it in the forums, but we had this idea of running like top trumps currently with players. If anyone doesn't know top trumps, it's basically where you get like a number of different criteria about people. And you can score them, and then you would like play people against each other. So we asked for, or Strikeback asked you for a score in likability and like how social they are, their strategic abilities, like somebody like Boggy, who's going to take you down from the inside over a number of weeks. Your perceived wealth, you know, there was always those people in Bootleggers history that you just knew had like a mountain of gold and cash. Their gambling skills, you always see people just like ruining casino owners, and then also their like shooting dominance, you know, like you know, perhaps they're just like recognized as being pretty formidable shooters. So Strikeback, what do you find out? Again, this is uncrypted, so we're hearing this for the first time.
Yeah, actually, very unscripted. But as you said, we created something on the forum, and I got some interesting replies. Someone mentioned Abu. Myself, I said Merlot. Then we had Godly, we had Gimmel, Boggy was in it, and then Ben also came to speech.
Ben, if it's Bootleggers related, Ben has to feature at some point, right?
Well, social skills would be 0, but he is famous, so everybody hates Ben, right?
I have a soft spot for Ben, and I think a lot of people
That's because he scammed you. That's something different.
He really did. Who hasn't he scammed? Riot, has Ben ever scammed you?
No, he tried. I don't know. I don't know who I've met in the game that was actually Ben. So
everyone is Ben, even I am. No, but to continue to be serious, I selected 3 gangsters for this thing, and I have selected a politician, I have selected a top strategic, and a casino monster. To start off with the politician, that will be definitely Abu. He's when you talk to Abu, you gotta admit he gets you into the story. You want to believe the guy, and you want to follow what he's doing. And I think that's part of TSE biggest success, and probably also for the Senate he was in. So if you hear Abu, you believe his story and you want to follow it, or you are completely against it. It's like left-wing, right-wing politics, what he's doing, but he's just selling it so well. So
yeah, I have a lot of time for Abu. I mean, he's one of those people that definitely comes to mind when you think about like strategic. So who was it that actually put him forward then? Was it
that was Nemo from
Nemo,
The Invisibles, I believe. Yeah. And he mentioned something. He was interviewing him for the Buzz, and I did the same thing earlier, interviewing him for the Buzz. And when he's talking, he's like, yeah, it's insane what he says. You just want to believe it.
Sure. Well, I definitely agree. I think if you're talking about top trumps and you're talking about strategic abilities, something like that, Abu's definitely going to score highly, right? He's definitely going to be in like the top high percents, isn't he? Against so I agree with that one.
Yeah. To continue. For strategic stuff, I selected Harar Hadi. What he's doing with the royal family is great. If you look at stats now, TRF. Shot for like 4 bullet factories now, and
they're doing it right now as we speak. Isn't it?
They are now, and they are having this little war against the Game of Thrones crew, and it's already paying off. Last week, last BuzzCast, Harar said, "When you're at war, you will lose." And I just look at stats, and the Colombo family is in the top position right now because of the actions TRF did, and I had a small conversation with him this morning, and he said, yeah, it was well-planned strategy, and I wanted this to happen because all those underground shooters are profiting from these bullet factories, and this has got to stop. And well, it's paying off. His strategy is paying off. He's like Napoleon or something in my eyes.
He is a strategic guy.
Yeah,
he's
very much.
I haven't actually had the pleasure of talking to HaHa an awful lot over the years. I would say I don't really know him too much, but from what I do know, he seems like a good leader. Got good strategic skills, and right now, as we it's no small effort to just take 4 bullet factories and hold it for some time.
No,
you know, the guy's definitely got the abilities. Well, I'm sure it's not just him, but we're talking about individuals.
yeah, it's the crew, but well, he's the boss, so he must be orchestrating it all. So in my eyes, and I'm trying to be neutral here, but well, my hat off to what he's doing.
Yeah, fair play. Whoever
Yeah.
put him forward, I think, yeah, I think he does. I think he deserves to be in our top trumps list. And
Yeah, that's
definitely
why
winning
I
a
put him
category.
in, absolutely. And then to continue, I said I had selected the Casino Monster, and I think it's all that was also Nemo selecting him, and it's Tino's or Martin.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
a real life
famous.
friend of mine actually.
Oh.
So I will also try and be unbiased.
Yeah,
but that
well-
will be slightly more difficult. But yeah, I do know Martin very well.
From what I've heard and in the words Nemo said, it's like absolutely Casino Monster tearing it down every time. Uh, not strategically, but just he wins your money. Whatever he's doing, he takes your money and he gets away with it. And besides that, he was like very friendly and he was always willing to help people, and that's also a beautiful thing for the community. So he has to be in it. It's just too bad, mostly with his crew, the Event Horizon, I think he counseled in.
I think he was underboss for some time. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't actually. I was never really in EH with him, and I never really. So I didn't really get on. I didn't really do too much with him strategically in the game. So, but if you're underboss of Event Horizon for several years, you must be
Yeah.
pretty strategic.
Yeah, and well, it's just too bad they didn't get to the end of a round. I've been told, but yeah, it must have been wonderful having him inside your crew just to earn the money and to keep your crew going.
Oh, imagine if gambling contributed to revenue. People like him would be. You would definitely be desirable to have somebody like him in your
Yeah,
crew.
but
He definitely took down casinos.
Even if it doesn't add for revenue, having the money coming in is always nice. You gotta buy bullets, you gotta melt those cars. So if someone is tearing down casinos, it's wonderful to have inside your crew.
Yeah, I think in some respects, the reason that I thought about doing this little top trumps segment is that it's a hot topic at the moment for us in that feedback group to talk about different play styles, and that's why it was nice. And Nemo helped me with the different criteria that you would score somebody against. And I think it's a hot topic at the moment to actually realize that there's a number of different play styles, and it's nice, like Martin might score or Tinos might score 10 for gambling skills, but he might not be very revered in terms of like his shooting ability.
Yeah, correctly.
And it's nice to see that balance in people. Yeah, I like it. I think it could be a nice little feature. I'm not sure if we'll do it every week, but let us know what you think about this little segment, because it might be nice as a way to have a little hit of nostalgia, and we'll talk about people from the past, and maybe even talk about crews or individuals that are playing right now.
Yeah, correctly.
Cool.
That
Well,
was it for the Gangster Trump so far for this week.
cool. Well, the topic's still up in the forum, so feel free to have a look at that. I guess that's come to the end of our agenda for today. Mr. Riot, did you have any last words of wisdom for us?
No.
In a word.
I was gonna say I just put up the Super Bowl betting odds for the upcoming Super Bowl this weekend. Now in the game forum where everybody can bet. I'm not so certain that this is going to be up before the Super Bowl though. So.
Okay. Okay.
Congrats.
Yeah, you do like do every now and again. I do see you do this sports betting, and I think it's quite popular. I see you get a lot of money from your account from players, so I guess it's pretty cool.
So we kind of died down for a bit. It was a lot to maintain, along with all of the duties that we had as moderators, and it's something that we, did talk to Kyle about, and he has kind of teased adding some of that into the game. I think he's just trying to get a lot of to get a lot of other stuff situated first. Obviously, there's some more important needs. But he has said that he's going to be looking to get in that second developer sometime early this year. So hopefully, when that comes along, we will get some enhanced in-game sports betting. But we shall
Nice.
see.
A couple of teasers. That's pretty cool. So that brings us to the end of episode number 4 of the Bootleggers podcast. Really looking forward to your feedback about how it's going, the format, and whether you're actually enjoying it. But that's all for this week. And thank you so much to our guests for making it. Boggy from the company Prophet and TheCigar from the Medellin Connection. Have I done it? How was that? How did that? Oh,
Perfect.
thank God. And Strikeback and Riot and I would like to say we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when we'll film episode number 5.
Hey guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right.
Bye, thanks.